Hello, second grade Smarties, and welcome to iReady Math Lesson 23, video number 3. Today, you are going to be in your instruction book on pages 212 and 213. So, this week we have been talking about reading and making bar graphs and pictographs, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be making pictographs and bar graphs. So let's start by looking at the problem we are working with. It says Lynn visited an apple orchard. She looked at one row of trees. She wrote down the color of the apples on each tree. Red, red, yellow, green, red, green, red, red, yellow, red, green, green. First, organize the data. Then make a pictograph and a bar graph to show the data. So we can organize our data in different ways. We can start by making a tally chart. So we had 3 different colors. We had red, yellow, and green. Then Lynn went through and tallied how many of red she saw, how many yellow she saw, and how many green. We could also organize the data in a table. So we could have a data table with 2 sections. We can have the color of apple, and we can have the number of trees. So the colors we had were red, yellow, and green. And there were 6 red, 2 yellow, and 4 green. So those are 2 different ways that we can organize our data. Now we are going to make a pictograph and a bar graph. For problems 9 through 11, use these graphs and the data from the previous page. All right, so the first one we are looking at is our pictograph. So our pictograph uses pictures to show data. So they have already done red. So we had 6 red apple trees, and each apple stands for 1 apple tree. Now we need to do yellow. Let's go back to our data and see how many yellow apple trees we have. We have 2. So how many apples do we need to draw? 2 apples. And remember, we want to try to keep them the same size. All right, so I'm going to draw 1. It's a funky looking apple. And 2. We had 2, and actually, Smarties, I'm going to fix that because I want to make sure they are close to the same size as the apples that are already here. Okay, 1, 2. All right, and our green apple trees. We have 4 green apple trees. So how many apples am I going to draw above green? 4. All right, here we go. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. All right, now let's complete the bar graph. Ooh, so we have our scale with the numbers of trees. We have labels at the bottom. What do we need to do in these blanks, Smarties? We need to fill out the labels. So we had red. What other color apple trees did we have? Yellow. And green. So we have to make those labels because our data has to match the label. All right, so with this bar graph, we are going to fill in the tiles. All right, so our bar lines up with the red for 6. That is accurate. For yellow, we have 2. So how many bars am I going to shade in, Smarties? 2. 1, 2. And my bar lines up with that 2. And for green, how many tiles will I need to color? 4. So I'm going to put little dots right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I can fill it in. Now see, my bar lines up with that 4. Okay, and now I can shade in 4 tiles. All right. So we were able to show how many red apple trees there were, yellow apple trees, and green apple trees. We showed this data with 2 different types of graphs. We use a pictograph using pictures, and we used a bar graph using bars. These are 2 ways to show data. Which one do you think is easier to read? Pictographs or bar graphs? What do you think, Smarties? I personally like pictographs. I think they're very cool to look at, but it's easy for me to count. However, bar graphs are very organized and they're very clean. Notice in my pictograph, it was kind of messy when I had to draw the pictures. Now, if I was completing this activity flat on a table, it would be easier for me to complete these bar graphs. But the bar graphs are really easy in showing where our data lines up with the scale. All right. Number 12 says make a pictograph and a bar graph for this data. Show your work on a separate piece of paper. All right. So I am going to scoot on over here. All right. So our data, we are graphing favorite colors. So what is the title of our graphs going to be? Favorite colors. So I'm going to make a pictograph. And the title is going to be favorite colors. And I am also going to have, let me make this a little, there we go, favorite colors. And I'm also going to have a bar graph labeled, it's the same data, same topic, favorite colors. All right, so there is our title. The next thing we need to do is we need to think about our labels that are going at the bottom. So what are the favorite colors that they decided on? We have blue. I'm going to write blue down here on my bar graph. Purple. Purple. Green. Green. Ooh, Miss Mason's going to need to make her graphs a little wider. Green. And red. Green and red. All right, so I have those spaced out so I have enough space to make my bars and my pictures. So let's start with looking at our pictograph. I need to decide what picture I am going to use. I think I'm going to use like paint splatters. So I'm going to say equals 1, make a pictograph. Ooh, 1 person. All right, so these pictures stand for one person's favorite color. All right, and over here, I need to make my scale. So I start at 0. And what number am I going to stop at, Smarties? What is my largest number in my data? 6. So remember, I'm going to have to go in number order. I am missing some numbers, but I can't skip those numbers because I still have to go in number order. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's start by focusing on our pictograph. All right, so I I have my graphs created. I have my labels. I have my titles. I have my key that says what the paint splatter stands for, one person. I have my scale for my bar graph. All right, I am ready to go. So I'm going to start by blue. How many people said that blue was their favorite color? 5. So how many paint splatters am I going to draw? 5 above blue. All right, so we're going to blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. All right, purple. How many people said purple was their favorite color? 6. So how many paint splatters am I going to need? 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent job, Smarties. How many people said green was their favorite? 2. How many paint splatters am I going to need above green? 2. 1, 2. And how many people chose red? 3. So how many paint splatters do I need above red? 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now, Smarties, when we make pictographs, we want to make sure that we use the same picture for all of our data. Now, these paint splatters look a little bit different, but I wanted to use a shape or something that I can make repeatedly so it would look the same. All right, now it's time for our bar graph. All right, so I am going to draw lines over here on my scale so I can make sure that my bars line up with these numbers. All right, so for blue, how many people chose blue as their favorite color? 5. So remember, our bar is going to need to line up with that 5. So I'm going to draw a bar, and it lines up with 5. And I can also shade this in when I am finished. All right, let's go to purple. How many people chose purple? 6. What is my bar going to need to line up with on the scale? The number 6. So I'm going to start from 0. I'm going to go up, 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 up. Make sure it lines up with 6, and then come back down. Excellent job, Smarties. All right, how many people chose green? 2. So with my above green, I'm going to make sure that it lines up with that 2. Perfect. Come across and go down. And for red, how many people chose red? 3. So above the red, I'm going to start at the 0, draw my line up, make sure it lines up with 3. Perfect. Go across and go down. Now, these look a little uneven. Again, Miss Mason is drawing straight across, but make sure that when you are finished with your bar graph, color those graphs in so they're easier and they pop out. All right, Smarties, that is it. You guys not only read pictographs and bar graphs, but you made those graphs today. If you are one of my Smarties, please do not forget to send a picture of the graphs you created. And as always, keep that growth mindset. Good learners do hard things, and I will see you tomorrow with our final lesson with pictographs and bar graphs. Happy learning, Smarties.